Long ago, the world was engulfed in a war between humans and monsters. In the end, no one remembered why the battles had started, and they agreed to live in peace. Many years later, two doctors specialized in treating monster girls, Dr. Glenn, a human, and his assistant, Mirpent Mihuman Safi. They were both highly skilled and devoted to their work. One day, they received a letter from Dr. Sai, a renowned doctor who was also a half-human, half-octopus monster girl. She asked them to come to Lorene and take care of her patients during her absence. Glenn was eager to assist his mentor, but his daughter was worried. She knew that Lorene was filled with beautiful monster girls who could attract Dr. Glenn's attention, and she was right. One of the patients was Thessalia Sitia, a Centaur and the only daughter of Sitia. Glenn examined Thessalia and found her to be in perfect health. He told her to leave and moved on to his other patients. However, at the end of the day, as they were about to leave, Glenn was stopped by two of Thessalia's assistants, Kay and Lorna. They were concerned and told him that something was wrong with Thessalia because she had been losing all her matches in the arena for the past month. To make sure of her condition, the text is cut off here. Please provide more context or details if needed. He decides to attend one of her matches, and once again, the young girl loses, this time against a cat girl. Glenn finally sees where the problem lies. That evening, while Thessalia is training for the next match, Glenn and the two assistants confront her and capture her. Glenn places iron hooves on Thessalia's feet. Proud of her royal blood, she had refused to wear iron hooves, which explained her balance issues and her 16 consecutive losses. Thessalia resents them for intervening, but the next day, she wins a match in the arena after losing 10 times in a row. Afterwards, Glenn and his daughter go shopping on the waterways of Mero. When they arrive at their destination, a mermaid lady compliments them as a lovely couple and invites them to her home. His daughter is upset and drags Glenn towards the mermaid. The mermaid, named Lulala, is a singer who sings for lovers and, more importantly, for money. Glenn senses that something is fishy and asks for a song, but only pays her 2 copper coins instead of 3. He offers her a free health check as the 3rd coin. As he expected, the young girl struggles to finish the song and starts coughing. It turns out she is suffering from a disease. Glenn examines her and sees blisters in her mouth. Lala had spent too much time out of the water, causing inflammation in her gills and weakening her voice. Suddenly, a young boy falls into the river, interrupting their conversation. Lala jumps into the water to save him, but becomes completely exhausted. A few days later, Lulala is doing much better, having found a new job at the Mero Waterway City Hall. Meanwhile, at Mero Waterway, a woman's mission is to catch scammers in the city. She chases after them frantically but falls into a trap. The next day, Glenn and his daughter are busy treating a slimy girl who is literally too hot to handle. They receive a visit from Lady Scatty and her bodyguard, Kunai. Scatty is a dragon-human hybrid, and Kunai is a human golem made from spare human parts. Since Scatty's voice is like a whisper, Kunai speaks for her. They tell Glenn that Scatty lost an arm in a fight the previous night and wants him to find it and reattach it. Scatty resists the help from Glenn, and Kunai does not seem pleased with the idea. She has a bad history with doctors who have damaged her more than they have healed her. She passionately hates doctors with the exception of her daughter, whom she finds cool. She tells Glenn to go to hell and says she'll find her arm on her own. She returns to the street and sees the same scammers who took her arm. She decides to follow them but falls into their trap once again. Determined to help Kunai, Glenn sets out to find her arm. He encounters Azalea, who has found the leg of the scoundrel. Glenn examines the leg and realizes that the sutures were done by amateurs. He ventures further into the city and meets Lalala, who has Kunai's arm. She gives him the arm and tells him he can use the limbs to locate the whereabouts of the scoundrel. Meanwhile, Kunai crawls up to a wall and curses her luck. Glenn finds her and offers to help, but she tells him to leave. Ignoring her, he puts on his doctor's glasses and goes into doctor mode. He repairs her arm and leg and connects all the blood vessels properly. She thanks him, even though she still hates doctors. The young girl thinks that Glenn is different from the others. Back at the clinic, Safi receives a harpy egg from one of her classmates. She tries to play a prank on Glenn by telling him she's pregnant, but he's not fooled because he knows that snakes lay eggs. The girl shows him the abandoned harpy egg her friend found in the street. Glenn checks the egg and realizes it's not fertilized, so it's about to become a big omelette. Outside, bandits appear and attack the clinic through the front door. More bandits arrive, and the doctors come out to meet Kunai. She explains that the bandits are slavers who kidnap harpies and force them to lay eggs, which they sell to the highest bidder on the black market. The doctors ask for help from the city council, but everyone is occupied with their own mission to stop the slavers, so they are forced to join Kunai in her mission. Skati and Lulala also join them. They are attacked by archers, but Tasalia saves them with her horse powers. Kunai and Tasalia fight the bandits outside, while the doctors go inside with Skati. Inside, they find the harpies who have been captured by the bandits. They all seem to be doing fine, except for one harpy who has an egg stuck and is in a lot of pain. Glenn gets to work and tries to help the harpy safely deliver the stuck egg. The egg successfully comes out, but Glenn's daughter was stabbed with a poisoned knife. She falls asleep in the midst of the battle, but quickly wakes up because the slavers used a weak poison. The next day, the two doctors head to the harpy village to help the inhabitants. Tasalia pulls their carriage through the mountains when suddenly a landslide occurs. Kay and Lorna save Tasalia, but Kay gets injured and can no longer walk. Harper males, presumably male harpies, appear and take Kay to their village. The rest of the group follows them to the village. Glenn finally examines Kay's injury and discovers it's a minor sprain that just needs some rest to heal. But Glenn doesn't have time to relax because he must help many villagers with various issues in the makeshift clinic. The group visits Elia, the harpy who was Glenn's patient when they were captured by the slavers. Elia had avoided Glenn's treatment and makeshift clinic, so he decided to visit her at her home. Elia lost her ability to fly after the incident with the slavers, which shattered her self-esteem. Glenn examines her again and uses his sixth sense to take her temperature and pulse with his bare hands. It seems like you're wondering what special abilities or skills Glenn's hands might have, but the text doesn't provide specific details beyond his use of his sixth sense to assess Eileen's condition. He discovers that Ely is not sick at all. She was simply shedding her feathers to grow new ones. Ely is furious with Glenn's diagnosis and refuses to believe that her inability to fly is due to missing feathers. She angrily flees from the house, with Tasalia following her. Tasalia discovers that Ely wanted to become a gladiator like her and fight in the arena. Ely challenges Tasalia to a duel, but she is no match for the seasoned fighter. During the fight, Tasalia takes one of Eileen's feathers and gives it to Glenn. Glenn realizes the problem and collects all of Ely's shed feathers scattered around the town before rushing to find her. Glenn explains to Eileen that she is undergoing a mutation, but not in a normal way. Eileen has phoenix blood in her veins, so she is replacing her old feathers with new ones that have phoenix-like properties. A few days later, Ely proves Glenn right by flying with her new rainbow-coloured wings. Glenn touches one of her feathers, feeling its warmth, and wonders if he might be a phoenix himself. Glenn and his daughter also give the harpies advice on how to care for their wings and claws. As they are about to leave, some harpies arrive wet and covered in a creamy, delicious-looking liquid. It turns out to be spider silk found everywhere in the forest. During their exploration, they encounter Arania, a spider woman who is a famous couturier and Safi's best friend. Arania initially expresses her desire to capture Ilia and see her rainbow wings. However, when she learns that there are many harpies in the village, she becomes overjoyed and follows Glenn and his daughter to the village.